All right, this week we started Unit 4. Unit 4 is all about decimals. I'm going to go through some of our notes that we have taken this week in math class and then talk about what we're going to be doing next week. Okay, so the first thing we did when we started talking about decimals is we wrote out a place value chart. So the new thing to 5th grade this year is the thousandths place. So in 4th grade, we stopped at the hundredths place. That when we talked a lot about money and change and cents, we extended one more place value over here to talk about the thousandths place. There are two ways that they are responsible for knowing how to represent numbers in 5th grade. One is standard form. That's just a regular number. So I put it in the place value chart, but then standard form is just right here, 456 and 987 thousandths. The next way is expanded notation. So expanded notation is breaking each of these digits down into its value of that number. So if I have a 4 in the hundreds place, 4 times 100, 5 in the tens place, 5 times 10, 6 in the ones place, 6 times 1. So this really helps them understand that this is not just 4, 5, 6. This is 4 hundreds, 5 tens, and 6 ones broken apart. Okay, the next thing that we did this week is we compared two decimals. One thing that we did on Wednesday and Thursday both were stacking the decimals to compare. This is going to be really important for what we're doing next week. So I stack numbers. I add a 0 if I need to make them have the same place value, because my brain is going to want to tell me that 347 is bigger than 35. But they need to remind themselves that you can always add zeros on the end. So this really isn't just 35, it's 350. So I can tell that 350 is actually greater than 347. Okay, same thing down here. Their brains are gonna try to trick them. 4 is less than 37, but this really represents 40, which is actually bigger than 37. Then we moved on in our journals to the next day, which was ordering decimals. So now I have 3 or more numbers and I either have to put them in order from least to greatest, greatest to least. We used the same strategy on this day. We stacked all the decimals, added zeros as necessary, and then we can put them in order using our comparison symbols. Okay, the last thing that we did this week, we finished off the week by rounding decimals. So rounding decimals works the same way as rounding whole numbers. So we underline whatever place value we're rounding to, which is in this case the nearest tenth. The number next door tells us if we are going to round up or if we're going to keep this number the same. So in this case, we underlined the tenths place. Our number next door told us that we are going to round that number up. So this would actually turn into a 2. So we have a little rhyme. If it is 4 or less, you let it rest. So if this was 4 or less, the 1 would have stayed the same. Or if it's 5 or more, add 1 more. So because this number was 5 or more, we added 1 more. We can represent that rounded number as 6,352 and 2/10, or we can leave the zeros on the end. So that would be 6,352 and 200 thousandths. Both of those are equal. So both of those would be acceptable. All right, so next week we're gonna be taking all of that decimal knowledge and we're gonna be adding and subtracting decimals. This is only tricky when my two numbers have different place values. Okay, so here's an example of a problem they might see next week. So I have 5 and 2/10 minus 3 and 861 thousandths. Over and over and over and over and over again, we tell them, make sure your place values are lined up. It looks weird when it's like this, but this is how it has to be. So if I'm subtracting, it should look like this. What you're gonna wanna see 4th and 5th graders do pretty often is either make this a fifth, like switch their place values. So they would do 861 minus 5.2 because that seems logical, We're not going to do that way. We are also not going to scoot it way over here and do it this way. Still not going to do that. So make sure your decimals are lined up all the way down. Then we can always add zeros to the end of the number like this. That helps it make sense. So again, you are not going to want to come down here and just bring the 61 straight down because these are now zeros that you can't subtract from. So I'm going to go all the way over here. Now my neighbor has some to subtract. Make this a 10. Now I can subtract. So 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. 1 minus 8, I can't do that again. 11 minus 8 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So my answer is 1.339. All right, so we will have our next unit test next week when we finish our unit, looking like about Thursday. But if you have any questions, just let us know.